All right, we're good to go. Therefore, I would like to call the 14th meeting of the Greater Hill District Neighborhood Reinvestment Fund Board to order. As a reminder, as always, this meeting is being recorded. Please mute yourself or you are not the one speaking. If you would like to ask a question or give comment, please use the raise your hand function. You will be called upon. Also, we ask that you turn on your camera so that your name appears when you speak. Please feel to cover up the camera if you do not wish to appear on the screen. And as always, if you have not returned your conflict of interest form, you are not permitted to participate in motions or votes. With that, Julia, will you please take the roll?
Yes, thank you, Council President. Is the representative from District 6 present?
Present.
Is the representative from the Hill CDC present?
Present.
Is the representative from the Hill District Federal Credit Union present? Is the representative from the Hill District Consensus Group present?
Present.
Thank you, Arby. Is the representative from the Wesley Center AME Zion Church present? Is the representative from Shenley Heights Community Development Program present? Is the representative from the Historic Hill Institute present?
Present.
Is the representative of the Ujima Collective present?
Present.
Is the representative of the Office of State Representative Ariane Abney present? Is the representative of the Office of County Executive present?
Present. And could we change that?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Is the representative from the Office of the Mayor present?
Present.
Is the representative of the Pittsburgh Public School District present? Is the representative of Allegheny County Council present? All right, thank you so much, everyone. Back to you, Council President.
Thank you. So that'll take us to old business. And I believe, Julia, you're going to start with an update on the Hill Home Repair Program?
Yes, thank you.
Chairman, co-chairman, if we can for a minute, Julia, if you wouldn't mind, or if someone wouldn't mind, just reminding all of the members at this moment that we are beginning the meeting, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Yes. The meeting has begun. Sorry if I wasn't clear about that.
No, I mean the absent members. I just want to make sure that they get a quick reminder.
Sure.
There are a handful of members who somehow may have not gotten it on their calendar. Thank you.
Sure, we can certainly do that. I do know Ms. George is unable to participate today, but we can send a reminder out.
Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. So I'm going to give an update about the Hill Home Repair Program. Next slide, please, Gordon. So just as a reminder of the program, it's an temporary measure to spend learned dollars on home repair programs that uses the Homeowner Assistance Program as a model. Per this advisory board, the grants are up to $20,000 to Hill District homeowners, and we used a priority criteria that was income-based, households with children under the ages of 5, households with seniors, households with residents with disabilities, and critical home repairs. Next slide. So we received an abundance of responses. We have enough funding allocated for 20 projects. So 20 projects were identified using that priority criteria. So right now, the 20 projects are advancing through the contractor bidding phase. 3 of the homeowners brought their own contractors. So we're working with them to get them approved to the URA standard. They're going to work with them. We have 5 MWBE contractors who've worked on other URA HOF programs. So some of them have more than one program who are working with homeowners. And then 10 of our homeowners are paired with Rebuilding Together, who is an admin for URA programs. So currently we're finalizing bids, we're closing schedules, and we're beginning work. As of today, right now, there's a closing going on, which is really exciting. And I will share the names of the contractors once the closings are complete. I just want to make sure everything's all tied up before I do that. And that's my update.
Thank you. Are there any questions from members?
Quick question, is there overlap between like the MWBE contractors and Rebuilding Together or?
No, those are separate.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And I did send out an infographic of both the August and September application data.
Sorry, second question, are we gonna walk through that data?
Not today.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions for the Hill Home Repair?
Oh, sorry. So I've been asked by a number of different people, what phase we're actually in. Has any work begun? And if there's a targeted date for the work to be complete.
So we're currently finalizing bids and scheduling closings. I can't give you that information because I don't have it. We're working with independent contractors, so I can't. They are working with the homeowners to schedule when it works for the homeowners and it works for them. So I don't have firm answers on any of those points. So we're working through the process. Like I said, 2 closings are happening. So we're in the process. So I can't give you a deadline or when the work will be complete, because it'll be individual to the work that needs done and the contractors and the homeowners needs.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
And-
no problem.
And I just have a quick question. So after everything is completed, that these 20 projects are done, we'll just get kind of an update so that we can kind of report out on the kinds of work that was done on each home.
Yeah, I think we can provide that. I think that is something we'll be able to share.
Okay, just so we can have some levels of like success stories coming out of this.
Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you, Lakeisha.
And if I could share, we are also, as well, each of the homeowners, asking if they're open with photograph and some videography works.
Tanika, we can't hear you because we were hearing you through Julia and she muted.
Is that better? I'm sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yes.
can you repeat what you
Okay,
said?
so what we're doing is, as we're working with each of the homeowners, we're asking if they're comfortable with allowing us to take photography, to do some photography and possible videography, and that's a case-by-case basis. So that way we'll be able to document the process. And so it's definitely up to their discretion. But a few of them have already mentioned that they're so excited, they're happy to do so. So you also have that information.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Any other questions for the Hill Home Repair Program? If
Well, I guess-
not, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm sorry, Councilman. My last question is, so we know that this process is going on, and this is the first cohort. When or shouldn't we be ready to start the next cohort?
Kim, your sound went out a little bit.
Yeah, can you repeat your question, please,
Uh-oh.
Dr. Ellis?
Sure, I'm sorry. So I was saying, so this cohort is like active and will get to completion at some point and at the homeowner's convenience and so on and so forth. And we told the public that the next round would begin sometime around January. And it's February, so I was just wondering.
So we didn't tell the public the next round would begin in January. We told them we'd provide updates in January, which we did.
Okay. Okay.
So no
And
one's
so-
been, we just sort of let them know the status, but we did not say another round is beginning or anything like that.
Okay, and so we know that this can take some time. So I was asking, are we ready for the next cohort? Are we ready to move on to the next set of people?
No, there's been no further money allocated for this program right now. And so as soon as that occurs, and then I know that we will discuss later on the RFP responses as well, because that's something that would then go on to another entity. And so that would not be coming through us.
Right, right. Okay, just checking.
Thank you. If there are no further questions, we can move on to the next slide.
Looks like we lost Council President Lavelle.
Well, I can speak.
Marimba, you're muted.
Sure, I'm happy to jump in here. Julia, can you walk us through here the allocation plan slide that you have on the screen?
Yeah, sure. So this was the allocation plan that was approved by the advisory board for 2023, broken down by the eligible categories. The budget for 2023 was $1.5 million. The money that has been approved for expenditure is this $465,000 for development initiatives. That's what the Hill Home Repair Program is nestled. So this is the first page. There is a second page, but this gives you just the percentage and the dollar amount. Courtney, if you want to jump. Yeah, so again, the total here is 1.5 million. So this breaks it down by each of the categories here. So for, oh, here's Lavelle. For 2023, there is a $1.1 million remainder.
Right, and so relative to this particular item, is there a specific need to revisit the allocation plan? From your vantage point, Julia, or the URA, or Councilman Lavelle, was there a specific reason we wanted to revisit the allocation plan?
Well, I can speak to that. We had
Hold on for 1 second, Kim, if you wouldn't mind. I want to just get some insight here into from Councilman Lavelle and the URA on this in particular.
So, and sorry, my computer's acting up and now my camera's not working, but I'm back. Yes, I wanted to revisit it for sort of two reasons. One, we have dollars that we did plan to spend. Now, some of that was also contingent on sort of the next item that we'll discuss, which was sort of bring on a programmatic person to assist in setting up these programs. But with that being said, we do need to begin working on our 2024 allocation plan. And so the conversation for me is, one, are we going to wait to try to expend these dollars until we bring on a programmatic person and that person can prop up these programs? Or do we want to devise a plan to expend down last year's? My personal recommendation would be to probably roll these dollars over into the 2024 spending plan. But I thought that was worthy of a discussion.
From your vantage point, Councilman, can we get a little context as to what the difference would be between when you say roll them over? Can you just give me a little more insight into, and perhaps this is also a question for the URA based on some of the way you all, some of the ways you've administered other programs. Essentially, is there any difference between keeping it 2023 and spending that down and rolling over, or not? Like, what would be the difference specifically between those two things?
Functionally, they're probably not different. On my mind, it was a matter of, do you want to adjust the spending plan for 2024? And do you want to then, based upon any adjustments that we're making, take some of these dollars and put them in different buckets for 2024?
I mean,
So,
we
Councilman Lavelle,
had pretty vigorous debate around
Mhm.
the,
I'd like to chime in.
okay, that's fine. We had pretty vigorous debate around the spending plan for, for 2023 and 2024. We do have a number of members absent, so I think that if we're going to revisit the allocation plan, it'll be important to get input from the absent members as well. But I mean, we did extensively talk about the allocation plan. It was one of the more difficult things that we faced as a committee, and it took us a long time to get to a solid allocation plan. So I would have some concerns about reopening that discussion because the community is waiting for funds to be expended in all of these categories. So with that said, Dr. Ellis, if you'd like to jump in.
So Councilman Lavelle, you actually brought this up last year. This is not anything new. And so you had asked if we would make a subcommittee like we do everything else here. So we did create a subcommittee. That subcommittee was Alicia George, myself, Arbery Bankston, Lakeisha Wolf. And we actually seamlessly created a new allocation plan. So I don't know, I don't even remember what happened last time, but this time there was no issue. So I think, yes, it absolutely needs to be revisited. We can update the committee with our findings and our suggestions, but just so you're clear, so everybody on the call is clear, this has been brought up before. We literally met before. We met 2 different times. We had a seamless discussion and reallocation. So we have a rough draft on that, and sure, everybody should be involved and so on and so forth, but we're already there.
So I need to get a little bit of clarification here, Councilman, if you could. I'm unclear about, I mean, the committee voted on the allocation plan because the subcommittee came back and made recommendations. Now we're trying to take the allocation plan back to committee to revisit it again when the community again is waiting for funds. I'm really confused.
So
It went to committee. This is the result of the committee's work.
I mean, I'm sorry. So I'm talking about, we had a meeting towards the end of the year around reallocating. This is after the Hill Home Repair Program began. So I don't know what your time frame is, Marimba, but that's the time frame that I'm talking about and that I'm using. And it was literally, I mean, this is not the first time Councilman Lavelle asked the question or the URA asked about allocation. So that's why we went into subcommittee.
So maybe we need to revisit for the public's benefit here. What happened last year was that the allocation plan was decided upon by the committee, this committee that's on the phone now, as well as the absent members. Then there was a proposal specifically from the mayor's office, the URA, and Councilman Lavelle, I believe, to reallocate funds from the development initiatives line item to go to Hill Home repairs, and specifically also to go on ahead and begin to issue funds for the Hill Home repairs. That happened. That happened. So now are we being asked to revisit the allocation plan? For what purpose are we being asked to revisit the allocation plan? Because the committee has already deliberated on the allocation plan. And we need to really get these funds out.
That was for 2023. And what we discussed was for 2024. We were asked to do this in the November or December meeting. And what we decided was the money that was rolled over from 2023 would be added to the money for 2024 for a total of $2.6 million. And because of the survey, the majority of the residents decided that they wanted this money to go towards housing. And that's the meeting that we had. The subcommittee was asked to be formed. It was formed. It decided for the 2024 allocation plan, which is not what we see here. This is 2023. So 2.6 million, 1.1 million apparently from 2023 that wasn't spent, and 1.5 million that's scheduled or allocated for 2024. So that's what we did, and that's what we need to move forward.
So,
Okay.
again,
And
a
I
point
think-
of,
One thing that I do have, wait a minute.
We have not
The one thing
received.
that I do have- Wait a minute, please.
what
One
survey?
thing that I do have a question about is I'm seeing money that was spent 1.5 million from last year, and
No,
where's
that was the budgeted amount, RB, 1.5
oh, the
million.
budget amount. Okay,
Yes.
so all we spent out of that was the $465,000, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
All right, so
And
that's how the $1.1 million gets rolled over from 2023 that was not spent to 2024, correct?
Yes.
Just for transparency purposes, and I believe this is why this needed to come to no one outside of the subcommittee, the 2024 allocation plan that was put together has not been visible to others yet. So the URA has not received it yet. So we don't, we're not aware of what the plans are. And so if you would like for them to share it now, that would be helpful, but we have not received it.
So just to refresh everyone, and perhaps James Reed can pitch in here. And okay, if my memory serves me correctly, and perhaps it is failing me, we came up with an allocation plan, a multi-year allocation plan, based on percentages of the total fund. That is what, and that took months. I mean, that took a lot of time for the committee to do. We came up with a percentage-based allocation plan for each category. And then
Okay,
funds for
you got 4
housing.
voting
1 second,
members.
RB, excuse me, 1 second, just let me please finish. Then based on that allocation plan, there was the decision to expedite the release of the Hill Home Repair Funds, which happened. The remaining balance of the 2023 funds, we still have people who desperately need money for children and youth education initiatives, rental assistance and subsidies, mortgage assistance and subsidies, job placement programs, development initiatives, workforce development initiatives, as well as the other categories. So those funds for 2023 are still there, and people are still desperately in need of funds for those categories, because they didn't get the 2023 funding. So that need is even more acute now. So
Well,
as it relates to 2023, it wasn't, the allocation plan was decided upon by the committee and voted upon by the committee. And then we expedited the release of the Hill Home Repair Funds so that the community can have access to that. But children and youth services, rental subsidy, mortgage subsidy, development initiatives, all of these projects along Center Avenue, all of the other workforce initiatives, the Historic Hill category, which was intended specifically for churches and faith-based organizations, those organizations and people still desperately need this funding to be released.
well, because of what was learned from the home repair program, it appeared, and there was 280 applicants for home repair, and only 20 were selected. So from what the information that we were given, it appeared that the home repair and stabilization of homes in the Hill was a higher priority, because that means that people don't get dislocated and they are staying in their home, which they have earned. So the other initiatives that you're talking about, we currently, and the reason why we went through the URA is there's no infrastructure in the application to process the application. So we don't have an infrastructure. We do have an infrastructure for home repair.
So I would,
That's all we have.
so
And
there are
it took
two
us
things.
excuse me, please. It took us over a year and a half to get to that point. This money was deposited in October of 2021. And
September.
we really haven't spent anything other than the $287,000 that your Hill CDC received in the last, that's 2021, that's 2.5 years almost.
Right, and
So-
we have on the agenda here, Arby, to talk about the infrastructure. We do have on
Well-
the agenda to talk about the infrastructure. However, I have to say that people, organizations, children of this neighborhood, people who need mortgage assistance, people who need money to finish projects along Center Avenue. Center Avenue is not in a good condition right now. Center Avenue, we need to be putting some investment there as well. If we had released, I want us to be very, very precise in what we're saying here. We are saying that we release funds for Hill Home Repair, and that pool of funding got oversubscribed, which is no surprise.
No need to oversubscribe. The
There's no
need is
no
greater than
surprise.
anybody
Let me just
anticipated.
finish, RB, please. Let me finish. There's no surprise that fund was grossly oversubscribed because there is a ton of need.
Oversubscribed, that's the need.
That is the need. That is absolutely the need.
so we
Here's
can
the thing,
oversubscribe.
though. Here's the thing, RB.
You need to
Here's
be
the thing,
fair
and this is for the
to
rest of the committee
characterize
as
it.
well. This is for the rest of the committee as well. If we were to release children and youth education initiatives, rental assistance subsidies applications, mortgage assistance subsidies applications, workforce development initiatives, and so on, right? Faith-based support for churches. If we release that, they too would be grossly oversubscribed because we simply do not have enough capital to serve all of the needs of our community in this pool of funding. And so it is not fair to, it's not fair to try to revisit allocation because we got oversubscribed on the pool of funding that did get released, because it's the only point of data that we have. Of course, we want our homeowners to get whatever support they can, but we don't want that to be at the expense of children, people who need rental assistance, people who need mortgage assistance. We don't want that at the expense of the grocery store and or any other project that may happen.
So I have one question. I have one question and one question only. So the Hill has lost since the master plan in 2011 and the CSIP in 2014. The Hill has lost over 15,000 residents. So all the things that you're saying here are true.
That's not correct.
Yeah,
You mean
yes, it is.
1,500?
The census said, yes, it is.
You mean
You know it
1,500?
is.
You said
Yes, it is.
15,000.
No, it's over that. Okay.
We don't even have 15,000 residents in the Hill.
13 years ago, and they just had an article from last year, the last couple of years, that we lost more residents since 2020 census, which was 10,000 residents. So all I'm saying is, I agree that these are important, but do you have to decide what's more important? Do we maintain our residents, keep our residents, or do we let them go? And then the question becomes, well, we want business, and I want business, certainly do. But the question becomes, can the businesses be supported by the residents that are here, or remaining, should I say? So there's a lot more into this than what you are saying. Because the Hill is a distressed neighborhood, we have many, many needs that exceed the capital resources that we have. So the question becomes, what is the priority, and how do we get more bang for the buck? That's where the question lies. This allocation plan was something that you did in March of 2020.
I didn't do this. The committee did this, RB.
This allocation plan came from the Hill CDC.
Absolutely incorrect. You're absolutely incorrect.
I still have a copy of it.
You're absolutely incorrect, per usual.
At the Jason Center. I still have it.
You're incorrect, as usual.
No, I'm not. I will produce the whole packet of stuff that you gave me.
Please do.
So here's all I'm trying to say. The point becomes, what's most important? All these things that we are discussing, these categories, are certainly important. The question becomes, if business was going to be booming, why is it not booming now? And the answer probably is because of our residents and the issues that they have. So we have to decide. I advocate that we do what's best for the entire Hill, not just one category, but we don't have the capital resources.
But
let
that's
me-
precisely what you're arguing, RB, is that funding should get redirected to one category.
See what
Can
you're
I
saying.
can I just add a little bit of clarity here for real quick? So just real quick. this allocation plan is purportedly based upon a survey that occurred at least 15 years ago, okay?
Incorrect.
And then there was another survey taken. And so if you all would recall, I actually duplicated all of these allocation areas and created a survey so that we would have an updated survey of what Hill residents wanted. That survey was officially adopted by this committee.
No, it was not.
Yes,
It
it
was
was.
absolutely not
Yes,
officially
it was
adopted.
absolutely adopted. We can get the minutes. You did not vote
Please,
for it. You
please
didn't
do.
want it,
Please,
which
please
is
do get the minutes.
understandable.
Please
It's
get the
understandable that
minutes.
you didn't want it, but everybody else
Please-
did. We will,
please get the
we will absolutely, because a vote was
Thank you.
taken, and a vote
Thank
was
you.
taken with specific regard to that survey. The updated survey, it informed us in terms of what the interests were. So that's number one, but that's not it. Number two, the question about what to do with the 2023 funds and what to do in 2024 and the Hill Home Repair Program. If you know, can somebody take the allocation plan back one slide, please? Yeah, so if you note, housing is not listed anywhere in here. And we noticed that when we looked at the allocation of development initiatives, that's where the money came from. And we were like, wow, there's no specific allocation for any housing. And so we created another category for housing. And that's another part of what Arby was mentioning, was understanding the need, right? Like there literally is zero category for housing. Meanwhile, we've got 280 applications for the Hill Home Repair Program. So I know that that's just one of the things that we changed. We did not eliminate job placement programs, workforce development, Historic Hill Institute, rent assistance subsidy. We didn't eliminate any of that. But the problem is that it's the same subcommittee, by the way, who did the RFQ. It's the same subcommittee who did the work to try to get our infrastructure in place. It's us. And so we can't keep asking the URA to do the work. They stepped in because we didn't have our infrastructure. So we're just now having this meeting about infrastructure, and it's February of 2024. So no, yes, we did reallocate monies. Yes, we did decide to roll over monies from 2023 to 2024. It is based upon the survey that was officially adopted by this committee, and also by our experience, and also by the demand from Hill residents that at least 280 applicants in the first round applied for Hill Home Repair. So we're taking all of those things into consideration. It absolutely needs to be reallocated, and all of these areas are covered. We have not eliminated any area.
But
So I
you're
just
trying to
wanted to add.
reduce, but you're trying to reduce the amount of money for children in the neighborhood, for people who need rent
No,
assistance, for people who
you
need
haven't
mortgage
seen it.
assistance.
No,
for
you
people
haven't,
for-
you can't
for
say
this
that.
let me
You
chime
can't
in,
say
please.
that. You
Let me
can't
chime
say
in,
that.
We did not
please.
reduce any money.
Please,
Hold
no,
on,
you
hold
would
on.
have to reduce money in
And we
order
did
to give
not
it to,
eliminate any categories. That money
Let me-
has to
let-
be allocated to 2024.
and
That's what
we
you
need
just
to
Hold on,
told me.
table this
RB.
conversation until the other members are available, since people want to,
Well, you haven't done any of the work. Like,
Oh,
so,
yeah,
so
right,
you
Kim. The
would not
bona fide
know.
wouldn't even exist
You
without
would
me.
not
because
know.
Remember,
You would
you have
not
never
know.
been part of any committee
Council
or
President,
subcommittee.
I'm gonna step in for 1 second. James Reed has been managing the allocation plan, and he's taken everyone's ideas and created something that was presented to the body.
Absolutely,
Not
absolutely.
too long ago.
So,
Council President, are you okay if, since James is actually on PTO today, is it okay if we table this discussion for a minute so that way he can be able to provide the advisory board with accurate information related to all of the levels of funding and allocation and percentages that was put together from all of the various ideas? Is that okay with you?
yes, I'm okay with that. What I was going to say is if the subcommittee has met, and has made a recommendation. No one has seen that recommendation yet. Therefore, if the subcommittee would please forward that information both to the URA staff as well as to the rest of this committee so it can be reviewed, and then we can actually take a vote and have full discussion. I think we're working in the blind because we didn't realize that any work had actually been done.
Yeah, and
So
I
yes.
think, Councilman, that's being very gracious to suggest that there's been lots of work happening without your or my participation. I'm going to say this, if there is a subcommittee
What?
meeting,
You
if there
don't
is a
attend
subcommittee,
any
excuse
meetings
me.
at all. You don't
it-
attend
it-
any meetings at all, Marimba. So
we
what
have
are you
facts
talking
about,
about?
we have facts about attendance.
You have never
For the
attended any
sake
of
of
our subcommittee
professional,
meetings. So
for the sake of maintaining
Please do not yell over
professionalism,
each other.
for the sake of maintaining
you
professionalism.
have not attended any
For
subcommittee
the
meetings
sake
that
of
we have
maintaining
been.
professionalism,
Yeah,
let's
so
move
being
forward, please.
professional,
No, so
Marimba,
I'm
Let's
not gonna,
move
I'm not gonna
What
let you
meeting have
spread
you attended?
misinformation.
Which subcommittee meeting have you attended, Marimba, being
Right.
professional?
Right.
I am, first of all, let's
So the answer is
revisit,
none.
let's revisit,
The
let's
Not
answer
the
is
revisit,
none.
misinformation
let's revisit
campaign.
some
Clear
facts.
here.
Let's
Wait a minute,
revisit
let's
some
be
facts.
clear. No one is trying to take money and reallocate it.
That's
to
precisely
any
what you're doing.
category. The money wasn't spent in 2023. Okay.
The money
We don't
wasn't
have-
spent in 2023, and that means that people are in desperate need, and that organizations are in desperate
We don't
need in
even
these
have an
relative
infrastructure to
categories.
do anything. We barely got $465,000 out the door.
That's
Two
correct.
and a half years later.
That's
And
because
you didn't even vote
we
for
come
it.
to meetings. That's because we
And
come to
you
these
didn't even
meetings,
vote
and
for it,
you and
Marimba.
Kimberly,
Tell the people the truth about
you and
that.
Kimberly are
Co-chair.
focused on the wrong things.
Co-chairs, I'm
Marimba,
asking to step in.
Tell the people the truth about you not voting for the house.
I'm stepping in for a second, because what is clear here is that everyone is passionate about our community. And so what we're experiencing right now is passion. Passion is great.
And integrity.
Passion without action
Standard and
is
work.
not going to move forward. So I'm asking if we can table this discussion for a minute so we can move forward with the other pieces, because we do want to be able to get the money out there. Everything that Co-Chair Marimba is saying is correct, related to all of those other entities that are necessary. Everything that Arby and Dr. Ellis is saying is correct, related to our homeowners. We can be passionate about all of the things. It does not have to be one or the other. And so if you allow us to continue with the meeting, we would love to be able to move forward so we can get the money deployed to the community. And we recognize you all want this money out there, and we want to support you as best we can, but we can't support you if everyone is talking over each other. But we do respect the passion. We understand that the passion is driving this, and that makes so much sense, and we get that. But with the co-chair's permission, we would love to table this conversation so that James Reed, and we apologize that James Reed was not able to be here, but he is the expert in relation to the allocation plan.
Thank you. That's agreeable to Nika. Let's move forward.
And for
So
the
I have one
record,
thing to add.
Tanika,
So we don't have.
Let us move
things
forward,
like-
please.
No,
be quiet,
listen,
Marimba.
please be proper and let
Let us
somebody
move
else.
forward, please.
Go
This
on,
is
Arby.
why the funds haven't been coming to
Go
the
You
on,
don't
community.
have
Arby. This is
anything in
not
writing.
why.
This is why the
And
funds
this
haven't been
is
coming to
not
the
why.
community. Because you and
Because
Kimberly come to
you-
the meetings and you
you
are
set up-
distracting the
Don't
purpose
come
of
here and
our,
try
Oh,
to
please,
of our
Marimba,
meeting.
please. You're
That's
spreading
right.
Let's move forward.
misinformation all
Let us
day,
please
every
move
day.
forward.
You have no
Passion and accurate
Let us
passion.
please move
Your
forward.
passion
You have
is
no
inaccurate.
integrity.
Thank you. Can we get an RFP update, please?
And for the record, Tanika and everybody else, we did not remove funds from any category. That's an assumption that Marimba Lyons, the so-called co-chair, made, who never attended any of the meetings. That's
Right.
for the record.
Can-
Right. Nobody believes that but you.
Just
Right,
forward,
we have
forward, forward
proof.
us the
Correct.
information,
All of the
please.
committee members, we
Correct.
know who attended.
Forward the information, please, so we can.
We will.
Gordon, I think you're
Councilman.
taking this one.
Councilman or Marimba, that either I can take it if you'd like. Gordon, if you want to go to the next slide. So we released the RFP for the resource navigator and administrator and the quality control and construction inspector. We had 4 responses. So this is just for transparency. we wanted to let the public know who responded and for what. So Poise Foundation responded for the Resource Navigator Administrator. Massaro responded for the Quality Control Construction Inspector. Third Sector Consulting and the Hill District Collaborative responded for both roles. All 4 entities were interviewed. We're going to move into a closed session to review the findings from the interviews and discuss there, just to protect these organizations, to protect relationships, just feels a little bit more proper. So that is the update here. We just wanted this read into the record that these are the organizations that applied and the roles they applied for. Next slide, please.
So I have a question. When we go into closed session where it's not recorded, what's the purpose besides protecting something? I'm trying to understand what we expect to achieve when we do this.
Mainly, no worries. I believe that takes us to new business before we adjourn and then go through this. Is there any other business members need to bring to the table at this time? If not, I'm gonna ask all members to please stay, but we need a motion to formally adjourn this portion so that we can go into the closed session. May I have a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second,
All those in favor say aye.
aye.
Thank you. Gordon, you can stop the recording.
Somebody